It's good afternoon, good evening, how are you? It's Monday. Call this work session to order. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Jackson if you'd be so kind to give us an introduction.
I sure will. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this awesome ability to come before your awesome and righteous throne. Lord God, we thank you for being our King and our Lord and Savior. Lord God, for being our advocate and our intercessor. Lord God, we just thank you for being Christ all by yourself. Lord God, we give your name the praise, glory, and honor is due. Right now, we ask that you work in us and through us, only to accomplish your will, Lord God. Bind us to your will, bind us to your mind. Let us do those things that uplift your city and uplift your name. In Jesus' holy, precious, and righteous name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilwoman Jackson. No citizens request tonight. Mayor's report, attorney's report. Attorney would have been here, but he had a family emergency.
Yeah.
So let's keep him in our prayers. Now, go ahead and bring up Mr. Ray. Please come forward.
All right, I guess, we talked, what was that, 2 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, about the, submitting a grant application. I've gathered some more, gotten a lot more information about, this is, and I know you're gonna talk about the Rebuild Alabama, but this is a separate part of the Rebuild Alabama program. They're calling it A-Trip 2, and A-Trip 2 is 100% state funds, whereas the old previous A-Trip monies was federal money. And in that, y'all were required to put up 20%. There's 80-20 match, but you also are required to provide the engineering design, not the construction engineering, but the design of the project, in addition to the 20%. I went back and I've done a detailed cost estimate on Franklin Street, from First Avenue to Highland. And it's a 3-lane street, as everybody knows, and it was, we did it back in, it was under, when it originally went from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, back in 93, 94, somewhere like that. And that's the last time there's been any work done on that street. I went out there today for something else, and it's pretty rough down through there. What we looked at, I did a detailed cost estimate to go in and, we would have to come in and do some milling down, planing the surface, some leveling, and then we would go back in there and put, basically we call it wearing surface, restripe it, you know, to basically like it is. Total cost of that project is $315,700. Now that's without the engineering design. So, my recommendation to the council is this, and I also looked at going all the way from J.L. Chestnut to Highland, basically doubles the cost of the project. You know, they only got $30 million statewide this year, and while that sounds like a lot of money when you've got 67 counties and 300 and something municipalities in the state, that doesn't go very far. And this is a competitive process, by the way. And I have had conversation off the record kind of with some personnel at ALDOT, and they were recommending strongly that you put up some match money. They wouldn't give me a number, okay? Because it says, let's see, it says somewhere, okay, I'll read you this. Local funding sources to supplement A-Trip 2 is not required, but projects containing a commitment to provide supplemental funding may be given favorable consideration by the A-Trip 2 committee. So they're telling you it's not required, but you might want to.
Would they have to be noted in your application that you're willing to put up match?
Yes, you have to say in the application, but it's not requiring a resolution, but I think y'all might want to just at least, if you want to do that, put that in your minutes. So let me tell you what I've come up with. The project, without the basic engineering, and that you would pay for that separate, and that would be in the project. Basic engineering is going to be about $25,000. That's engineering design. You would take a $315,700 and you would put $31,570 match for that. And then that would make them, your grant would give you about $284,000. keep in mind, you can apply for this every year. And that would be my approach if I were y'all. I'd just submit an application every year.
Will we have to identify where we're gonna get this money from before we make the application?
And it'd be next fiscal year. I mean, the application deadline is Friday, the 30th, this Friday. And, you know, just to being honest, I don't know when they're gonna announce the awarding of it, have no clue. Probably 60 days or so, I don't know, but, you know. So it'd be up into January, February, March, so we'd be out. So, yeah, you wouldn't have to identify where it's coming from.
Well, no, the reason I asked this is because we don't plan and identify the source of revenues, and then we award it. And then, once we award it, then there's no monies to be put up front, then we reject it. Then that's gonna put a bit of appeal in the funding sources in the future grant application, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, that's a,
I wouldn't want to fight this unless I'm sure we get the monies. 'Cause
I understand what you're
I wouldn't
saying.
want to be awarded
And then have to turn it down.
and have to turn it down.
I don't think that's a very good idea either.
Right. That's my own concern.
We got Councilwoman
Can
Thomas,
you
Councilwoman
repeat what you
Councilwoman
just said about the amount of money, the matching money? You said that you would have to put up how much?
Well, you don't have to, but I'm recommending that you put up $31,570,
And,
which is 10% of the project.
31,500. And then you said the grant match would be what? What would the grant?
284, 130, I think, my math is correct.
That what the grant would be?
That'd be the grant amount you asked for.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if y'all remember, the A-Trip was done before we got here.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, we were scrambling to yank money out of all these funds to
Yes.
pay A-Trip. So apparently, the city council doesn't concern itself with such trivialities as where the money's gonna come from, because that should have been funded a long time ago. We were all rallied to the 11th hour to get it done, so just a friendly reminder.
Oh, yeah.
Also, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yes.
Thomas.
Councilman Boland said, you know, I followed that A-Trip project when Evans was in office. When they said a certain amount of money was supposed to be did from Chestnut Boulevard to all the way to Woodrow. But when it came to the project, it did not, it wasn't complete, it did not complete the whole street that it was supposed to be.
You know, I was not involved in that project, so I'm not sure. That was the original A-Trip, I call it A-Trip 1 money, where it was 80-20. You'd have to put up 20% on that project, and that's probably what Carl's talking about.
Yeah.
You don't have to put up anything here for it, but I recommend 10% because they're gonna take that into consideration. They also take into consideration the economics, I think it says economic diversity, or ethnic diversity and racial ethnic diversity in your city, which means that, you know, they know Selma's not a wealthy city like some of the larger ones, and so you probably get a little extra consideration for that.
And is there any kind of way that you have when that project was put in place, the total amount of money that was supposed to be spent on that project from Chestnut Boulevard all the way to Woodrow?
Like I said, I was not involved with that project, and I don't know. I know what this one says. It says if your cost overrun, y'all gotta come up with the money, so we fit it out. And so I made sure, and I even got some contingencies in there, I made sure that I put enough in my estimate to cover everything, or at least I thought I did. And I compared some historical prices that I got off ALDOT's website. But you know, so I don't know about that. And this one says what you say you're gonna do, you're gonna do it. If it costs over more than that, you're gonna pay for it. That's it.
Well, the reason why I asked him, because I was trying to find some documentation. Where can I find that documentation on the money that was awarded at that time, that A-Trip project?
No, I don't know the answer to that. Because like I said, I was not involved
Okay.
with it.
All right, okay.
Councilman Boland and Councilwoman.
Just to follow up, Ms. Thomas, I think if I remember correctly, the money that was awarded, by the time the city got to execution, the money had been dwindled down, which is
Yes,
why they.
that's why I wanted to know.
But I can't remember what the total amount of money was, but I remember having it, I thought we discussed it maybe in one of the earlier meetings about.
400,000.
It was 400,000.
That's what we matched, so it had to be about the same, right? So you said 80-20?
It's 80-20. It was under the original A-Trip program.
Right.
But that was all federal funds.
Right.
These are all state funds. The
Right.
state can do whatever they want to do.
It was 400 and something thousand we had to get to it,
So
wasn't it?
it had to be a million.
Yeah, it was 400.
A million, 1,000,002.
Yes, sir.
Project. What's the deadline on this project?
Friday,
So,
Friday,
Friday?
yeah.
Okay. I think, Mr. President, we got an opportunity to garner some additional funds for our community. We never know what tomorrow's gonna bring. Let's go on record and make the application and just deal with it.
Yeah. Also, too, we have another project Friday deadline, Rebuild Alabama. I think we received $92,000. So we got to do that with the resolution. That's due Friday also. Councilwoman Jackson.
I was just, this was the reminder, we all know that the state pays the
Yes.
gas tax. And so, we received, and I brought up at our special call meeting in July, that, we received that application, and I asked the president if he would allow me to put it on that, actual agenda, so that we could approve or allow, Mr. Hawes to go forward. And so I called him on last week to say, hey, where are we in the process, because I knew it was due on the 30th.
Have we voted?
We gave him permission, or we allowed him
Okay.
at that meeting to proceed
Okay.
with the application. We
Okay.
did do that.
I remember that.
At that meeting, and so, he was gonna come back and let us know what his thoughts were about, where we should go, because everybody had a couple of different streets that we were looking at. And just like, my colleague stated, that, to allocate, and I think as we're in the budget process, to allocate the $31,500, and so necessary for this project would be very reasonable. Seeing as though we're almost going to garner $300,000 worth of work that we couldn't do to Franklin ourselves in this fiscal year if we were trying to obtain the funding by ourselves, and having this opportunity. And I think it's great. It's based on his recommendation that we're going with the Franklin Street. And if you've ridden down there, I rode that entire street after he said that, and I was like, can we go all the way to JL Chestnut to the railroad track? Because there are huge potholes in that area, but his experience has led us to say, well, let's ask for half of that. And
Especially
I'm
one
hoping.
in front of Concordia, that big pothole.
Right, we got a lot, and so I think this would be.
this will fix that.
Okay.
Who's gonna prepare the resolution?
We can get,
I didn't understand the question.
Woody.
Who's gonna prepare the
Get
resolution
with
for
it.
tomorrow?
We'll get it. I'll talk to him tonight. Yeah. I guess,
I can prepare it.
go ahead, please.
31,570.
31. Councilman Bowling.
Did you get a chance to run by West Haven, look at that hole? What we got?
I think I may be able to get somebody after we do Susan's, do hers. We got somebody in town doing point repairs. I'm gonna get them out there digging, maybe next week.
Okay. I can send and say, hey, we got a solution in hand.
Well, we gotta find out the problem.
We're gonna investigate further. We gotta move.
Well, we can get somebody in there, they're under contract, to fix point repairs. We can get them, they'll dig down, and if it's not, we can't do that. But if it is what we think, there's a plan in place, and it'll be paid for at the SRS.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Appreciate you.
Councilwoman.
And also, Ms. Story, once they finish up on Field Park, who's gonna come, are they gonna pay
They're
that
gonna pay
part?
for that.
Yeah, because we don't need it when it rains, with that ash.
Yes, they're gonna pay for that.
They're gonna pay
They
it?
finished that till last Friday, I think it was, Thursday at 8.
And I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you're gonna make sure that,
They're responsible for paving that.
okay, all right, thank you.
So basically, Councilwoman Youngblood, if you can't get the resolution, I do have a resolution number. If you just get it to me, we go ahead and put it on consent agenda. If it's okay with you all.
A-Trip two,
A-Trip too.
and Bill, Bill Allen.
Yeah, A-Trip, because I know, Mr. Jones is working on that, rebuild out of resolution. And I'm gonna try to go and do the resolution, consent tonight, because I got to leave, head to Birmingham in the morning at 5 o'clock for a meeting all day. So I'm trying to get everything done tonight,
You'll be back for the meeting tomorrow.
hopefully.
Also, the citizens, I told them, you know, they're very upset, but I told them that you were coming over there this week, with that cave-in, with the sewage cave-in.
It should be.
Okay, well, that's what I want, because some of them are coming to the meeting tomorrow night, and I told them, I understand that it's been a 4-year ongoing thing, but, you know,
And the reason I say they should be, they got Oak Street, they gotta go in, they were gonna start today.
okay, all right.
The weatherman didn't cooperate with us.
Yeah, it rained,
They'll start tomorrow, that shouldn't take more than 2 days.
okay,
All right.
thank you.
Any other questions for?
Then we'll get on call.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're gonna place that on consent agenda tomorrow night.
Yeah, for the, so they can.
31, yeah. I already have enough of everything, so I'm gonna try to do it now. All right. We have, any other questions? Franklin Street, we're gonna put that. All right. Next, we have, Police Chief. Chief Green, please come forward. I have some information, I'm getting copies for you. That he's gonna go over. Ms. Wade's copies. Chief, how you doing? How you doing?
I am doing just fine.
I'll give you the information, copy, Ms. Wade, so, for each council.
Okay. Would you like for me to proceed?
Yes, sir.
I have several items that need to be brought to the attention of the council. The first item, around May 14th, the city council passed a resolution declaring that a lot of our old dilapidated and worn out vehicles surplus property. There were several additional vehicles that I have provided you with. I think you're making copies
Yes, sir.
that should have been placed on that list, so they have been added. The second thing, K9 Sammy, we would like to retire K9 Sammy. He has basically succumbed to his medical problem, has some extensive medical problems. We're spending a lot of money on medical bills, so we would like to take him out, sir.
What is his name?
K9 Sammy,
Sammy.
S-A-M-M-I.
I have a resolution that I'm getting to where we make copies.
Okay, put
We're
it
gonna
on
put
the
it on
consent.
consent agenda, yes, sir. But whenever we retire the K-9, we have to charge a fee of at least $1. So it's included in the resolution.
Or we're retiring to his hand or
Yes.
retiring his hand?
All right, Chief.
The third thing on the, my list, my wish was vehicle purchases. I've been in search of vehicles ever since I came aboard because the maintenance cost of keeping these old jalopies running is just astronomical. So I found 7 vehicles that I would like to purchase. They are Dodge Chargers. They're the cheapest ones that I could find. I looked at the Explorers, I looked at the Tahoes, but this would be my best option. And 7 comes at a cost of $209,661.41.
How many vehicles?
I mean,
7,
7?
yes. The unit cost for those vehicles is $29,951.63. They are fully equipped. However, there is some additional equipment that we may have to add once we get them, like the in-car camera, because compatibility issues, and of course the stand and the printer for the laptop, as well as the laptop. Want to purchase those vehicles with the $200,000 that this council promised me. Plus, we had another $160,000 that was placed in the fixed asset budget, but for some reason, those funds were never used. They were placed in that budget to buy police equipment.
Yes.
The third thing is miscellaneous vehicle equipment, and that, I think I missed something. not only do we want to purchase 7 vehicles, we were looking at a personal transport unit. I parked that ugly thing in front of the city hall a couple of days ago, deliberately, so you could see what we were dealing with. A new one would cost $46,000. The option that I have, it only has 42,000 miles on it. I can get it repainted and restriped, fix the air conditioning. The insert is as good as new. It would be good as new. It would look much, much better and project a more positive image for the police department as well as the city of Selma. I have, it would cost about $4,500 to $5,000 to get it. That's better than spending 46,000.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
it is, it is indeed.
Yes,
Yes.
And the final item on the agenda,
Yeah, Ms. Page, get that information, once you get it, we can probably put all that on this.
Yes.
Go ahead, Chief.
and the final item I have is uniforms. Those officers don't have uniforms.
What?
Most of them don't only have 1 or 2
Yeah.
pairs.
What happened?
An order, the measurements were taken several months ago. I ran into the vendor at the chief's conference, but the order was never placed.
Imagine that.
So I need to get them uniforms, and that money also can come out of the fixed assets budget.
Oh, go ahead, Councilman.
Could that fitting need to be done? Because I understand we've lost 4 or 5 officers. Am I correct? I said, can that fitting be redone?
Yeah, I will have to get another vendor to come down and do fittings as soon as I get it okay to do.
All right, I get you.
Also, Chief, for my business, like, ATV ordinance, I proposed one several years ago, but I think that's something we definitely need to revisit. With several accidents that has occurred, and also a fatality. Would it be a problem if I can get with you and, Lieutenant Fitz to help draft this ordinance, this ATV ordinance?
No problem at all.
Okay. And also, my other business, our business watch meeting. I talked with you about meeting about some of the local business owners, around the area to talk.
I'll be glad to talk with the business owners. Before I left in 2004, I had just started a business watch program, but I'll make sure the new chief implement the business watch program.
But I think, it would be a good idea, we're coming to the holiday season.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be glad to meet and talk with the business owners.
And I guess what we probably need to do is just arrange a time after you get from up under the flag.
Yes, sir.
Councilman?
Thank you. Is that it, Chief?
Yes.
I just want to mention that how long you been on this temporary job now?
I got one thing I forgot to tell you.
Okay.
I agreed to serve as the interim chief. I did not agree to serve as the interim judge. And every weekend I have to come up and clean my office because we don't have one at the police
Can we
department.
contract you?
What about the gentleman that used to work for the police department that retired?
Ben.
Ben.
Well,
Ben?
Yeah, he retired.
Ben thought that
Yeah.
he was gonna get laid off, so he went ahead and retired.
But he worked part-time.
He agreed to come back and work part-time, but according to personnel, we don't have part-time employees.
What?
About a season.
We could get him as a
We can
contract.
get him.
Give us a contract.
We can do a contract.
We can do a contract.
Yeah.
That's no problem.
Yeah.
Chief, you could.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And Chief, you've been back how long?
Since the 28th,
Okay.
roughly a month.
And that is not very long. What, a couple of weeks?
Just about 3.
3 weeks, okay. For years, we had this little issue about, we heard, when, we don't have enough, I mean, which is true, I'm not being flippant, but it was a very dangerous, as you well know, I mean, you know far better than we do, what a life-threatening condition it is for the officers to be out there in those jalopies they're in. And we arranged for them to have the monies necessary to get the equipment, the vehicles they needed. No order came, they had the vehicles lined up to purchase. The orders never were sent in, nothing ever came into fruition. Here, in a matter of weeks, you've arranged to have that done. You found the money in short order. And the officers have been, it's just been a like police academy. The movie, they've done the very best they can. You know, in the police academy, the movie, where the officer got blown up. No, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about Strikes, where the man strike that movie where the officer drill sergeant got blown up, and they had to put themselves together and do the best they could. That's kind of how the department's been operating. And I'm proud of the guys that have done the best they could, as honestly as they can. But thank goodness, we've got somebody here that can help them restore ethics and integrity and get the equipment they need, spend money the way it's supposed to be, and help them learn. Thank you. Right there.
Yes.
Okay, we'll just put all the chief items on consent agenda and move forward. Next, we have Fire Chief Graham. Please come forward. Also, we have a contract that you need to get some sidewalk in front of Fire Station 3, correct?
Station 3, yes, sir. The concrete is pretty bad there. I sent you some photos of it. I've got some photos here to I can pass around and let y'all take a look at if y'all would like.
Please. And that total amount was
44,450.
Okay. At our last council meeting, you know, we had it on consent agenda, where to take the money from to pay for that amount. I think we need to just go ahead and first off, put that on consent agenda. Vote where the money's gonna come from first, and then move forward with the contract. We do have a contract first.
Okay, so does that come from Woody?
Yes.
Okay.
But we just gonna have to just, you know, tomorrow, we had a consent agenda, where we voted for it. But we'll make sure we move forward with that tomorrow. And both, like I said, the contract and also the line item, the money's gonna come from. Also, you got you got two bids or something like that. You did two bids.
I actually had three bids. One came later after we spoke,
Okay.
over the phone.
Okay, that's good. And this is gonna go to
Advantage Concrete.
Okay, we'll take that. You know, Councilwoman Thomas.
Oh, yes, I have a major problem. This is public safety. You know, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2017, where we were having fires in Ward 7 in the same area. Recently, you know, we lost someone with this same problem. Right now, we have had, in that same percentage, right here on Tremont. I talked before about those fire hydrants. You know, we had a fire right there on Tremont, and then the next other night, we had a fire on Dukes. And in that proceeding of those fires, the fire truck came out, but it was a problem with the water. Now, I had put in a request before that, all fire hydrants in Ward 7 be tested to see if the water is coming out. So you had that same problem again, where right here off of Ella and Anderson Dukes, that you couldn't get the water out. You had to call in another truck to go on the other side to connect, to bring some water in. Now, that been a process. Here it is 2019, and that problem have not been solved. Then we turn around and had another fire on Dukes, on the far end of the dead end of Dukes, where we had one house burned up completely because we didn't have the water. And the house next to it caught fire. So I'm asking and requesting, because public safety is a #1 issue. That these houses where no one was staying, once someone was staying in one of them on Tremont and on Dukes, no one was living in them. And who do we find out, deal with the fire hydrants to make sure that water is coming out?
Well, actually, August 3rd, when we had the structure fire over there off of Duke Street, and actually the way the call came in that early morning, it was about 10 minutes after 6, and the call come in at 1214 Union and Railroad. So the units arrived on the scene and actually had to reroute themselves to go down Duke Street, because that's where the actual fire was at. So they caught the hydrant at Union Street and took it down to Duke Street to hook to their trucks, and come to find out they didn't have the pressure on the hydrant. So they disconnected from that hydrant, and they had the ladder truck on the scene, and it pulled the hydrant down from Boynton and reconnected to those lines. So the next Monday, this happened on Saturday on the 3rd, so Monday I contacted Mr. Bridges over at the Selma City Waterworks and asked him would he take a look into that, because we didn't have the pressure that we needed to have to actually fight the fire from that first hydrant that we pulled from. So he looked into it, and I actually contacted him this afternoon to make sure that they were taken care of. He reassured me that they had been fixed. So at this point, the Selma Waterworks is responsible for the pressures on those hydrants. So they would be the one that you may need to contact to check into the testing of those hydrants.
Well, what about in the same area on Tremont, on the King, it's on the end of Tremont and Short Griffin? That house caught fire too. And they was having a problem getting water from there. And this we've been having a problem with this not just now. We had another house on L.L. Anderson got burnt up too. Right? It's been possibly now maybe about maybe 6 months now. And the residents in that area, where they are surrounded with a few people that lives in these areas on Duke Street. They are homeowners, and the other houses they are abandoned houses. And these people are afraid of, these houses, they didn't just catch a fire. And the people that live there now, they're afraid that, they're asleep. And, houses catching a fire with no one living in them. And when you live right there, and we can't get the water. So what I told them that I was going to talk to you, and I was going to push very hard to make sure that we see water. If I have to go out there with public work here in that area to see the water coming out of the fire hydrant, because we done had, that's approximately 4 houses in less than a year, right in that same area.
Yes, ma'am. It'd be the Selma Waterworks, Selma City Waterworks.
So you said you already put it in?
I already checked on it, and he actually reiterated to me and reassured me that problem has been fixed over there in that area.
Well, I just want the people the citizens of here, when it comes to these fires, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, these people need sleep. And these houses, you know how it is up in Deuce. These houses are closed. When you got dry water houses like that, and someone live next door to that, we don't want to lose anyone else in our community from a fire. So it's me as a leader, I want to make sure that these fire hydrants are working over there in that area.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman, can we probably get with Chairman Allen? Maybe
Yes.
get with Chairman Allen and coordinate it with the fire department, go out and check it and see what we need to move forward.
Yeah, because these houses burnt down one house burnt down completely to the ground, and the other house caught the fire. And, that kind of scared those people. They don't have, these people own their homes, what's left up in that, in Beach Street. And, so I promised them that I was gonna talk with you and we was gonna make sure that those fire hydrants be working in our area.
Councilman LaShaw.
Speaking of fire hydrants, I have a problem in my ward that I'm trying to eradicate. The overgrowth of grass is handling a lot of these fire hydrants. I've contracted out to have this contractor go throughout my ward to cut the grass around fire hydrants, stop signs, street signs, and anything that belongs to the city. And I know if it's that prevalent in Ward 6, it's got to be prevalent across the whole city. So a word to the wise and council people kind of look into to see if that's not a similar problem in your ward, because it would be a sad day in Selma when there's a fire and the fireman can't locate the hydrant because of the grass. That's the problem I'm working on, Chief.
Also too, Chief, we need to get with you, you know, we have 3 fire investigators, to see can they cross-train code enforcement. I'll be getting with you probably with the public safety committees to see how we can work that out, because I know they are ACO certified.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully they can serve as dual roles as fire inspectors and also code enforcement.
Yes, sir.
We'll be getting with you. Councilwoman.
That's one of the reasons we voted for these inspectors. What all do they do on a daily basis, Chief Grant?
Well, they investigated fires, and we've had a considerable bit of arson going on here in Selma.
Really?
Yes, ma'am, and they are actively working on those as we speak.
So the 3 of them are working on the arsons, the total number of arsons that we have?
I have 2. One's out on sick leave.
One's out, sick leave.
Yes.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. President, it's going to be important, Chief, to understand the need for the ACO certified firemen to be utilized in code enforcement.
Yeah.
Because what we're looking at, Chief,
That was perfect.
hopefully there will be some support from you and whoever the chief is. That we have a problem in our city of people indiscriminately throwing their garbage out in and everywhere. And we're going to be hopefully utilizing one of these ACO certified officers to knock on doors and ask the question, ma'am, sir, where's your garbage can? And if they don't have one, then they're going to write them up, give them an opportunity to purchase one, and then come back in a reasonable time. If they don't have one, then they're going to be fined. This is the only way, colleagues, that we're going to get a hold of this garbage. Unless citizens have a garbage receptacle, this problem is going to be with us for a long, long time. And I'm hoping and praying that we can utilize the big postal fires to help us eradicate this garbage problem in the city itself.
Yes, sir. They very well could do that.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman.
Oh, I have one
Johnson and
question.
Councilman Bowles.
The fire on Elliot Anderson, approximately how much time long do the investigator will give them a report on what happened that caused this fire, his home to get burned? He said he hadn't got the information. How long does it take?
Well, it really depends on, you know, the gathering of information and the inspection process of inspecting the fire itself, doing an investigation on it. Yeah, I don't want to say, you know.
Because he's been waiting for months now, and he hadn't got his report yet.
And possibly if I could get the address of where you're talking about, I'll have one of my guys take a look into it. Do you know approximately when it happened?
Yeah, I've been counting months. It's been, before these other 2 fires, it's been approximately going into 4 months now. He hasn't got, he asked me, and I told him to check with someone, because he wanted to know what the results that came out for the home, because he's the owner next door. It's his property, and he said he hadn't got it from the fire department.
You know the address? Ms. Thomas?
It's on Ella Anderson, right on the corner of Ella Anderson and Dukes.
Councilman Rowland, Councilman.
Just to be clear, Chief, you said, and we've heard this since we've been elected, at least I know I have. The Selma Waterworks is in charge of making sure there's pressures at those hydrants. Do y'all do anything to periodically test those yourselves, or are you just trusting them? Is that their responsibility at the point where you don't double check it just to make sure you're running the pressure randomly, or do you have time for that, or is that just too time consuming?
It's their responsibility.
So
Several hours responsibility.
your
for,
percentage of faith that that has been complete to the test, and next time we have a fire over there, that hydrant's gonna work? If you give me, 1 to 10, what's your 10 being 100% confident? 1 being I'm a little concerned still, or a lot concerned? Where would you fall on that spectrum?
10.
Okay. That's a good answer, Steve. Good answer. But we've had this happen more than one time since I've been elected, I know. So again, it seems like whatever they're doing to make sure we're maintaining pressure, it always seems to fail when y'all are called on site to start putting out fires. So there's gotta be some way to bridge that gap, or maybe do some sort of independent audit of those things periodically, and that would be a great thing for y'all to plug in and do it like y'all were gonna set up on site just to run it. But, I mean, is that something you would have time for, or is that something y'all could budget in as far as time goes?
I have to discuss it with Robert Bridges
Okay.
and get back with you on it.
Just to make sure there's, at least have a fire personnel on site if they are testing, just to ensure that that's adequate test. Because that's happened, I don't know how many times.
We lost a lady with the fire like that.
Councilwoman Bennett.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, but since you brought up the pressure checking, Chief, you're at a 10, that you're confident that they're doing what they're supposed to do at the waterworks, is what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. I spoke to Mr. Bridges today, and he reassured that the problem, whatever the issue was, has been fixed.
And, I want to piggyback on the question that he asked you, do we do periodic checks ourselves?
No.
No periodic check. And so my question, when I had my hand up, was back to, I had a follow-up to my first question that I asked you about the 3 inspectors. So they're investigating arson. What else are they doing? What's their schedule like? What is their daily schedule like?
They work 24-hour shifts.
Mhm.
They're all 48. I have utilized them in some manpower issues before.
That's it.
As much as I'm saying.
Okay, I wanted a clear visual of what is going on with the 3, because it's 3 of them. It's 3 of them. I just
Yes, ma'am.
wanted to make sure I was clear, and since you were here, this was my time to ask. So thank you.
All right. Any other, Councilwoman Jackson?
Chief, I just want to say, when we initially discussed the 3 fire inspectors, we were talking about supplemental pay, like $1,500 additional education pay, things of that sort. It kind of got warped, and the council agreed to this additional raise, $15,000 raise, because of the additional responsibilities. So if that's not going to occur, then it would be a motion that I put on the floor, that we go back to supplemental pay. That was not the agreement initially, when we decided, and maybe by the time it got to those on the ground, it was different. But I think the consensus of the council was, we're talking supplemental pay. Oh, they're doing additional work, then we're talking about a raise. So if you could make sure that you convey that, make sure that everyone understands that that was not, if we're only going to get the additional education in the fire department, then we only should be paying for the supplemental education that they receive.
Okay, and I'm not sure if y'all are aware of this, but there is a lawsuit going on right now currently with the fire investigators. So,
Meeting minutes. I don't know if he said there's a fire, first of all, I don't know anything about it, but I'm saying read the meeting minutes.
the lawsuit is with the fire investigators and about how their FLSA,
Oh, that's a labor.
their federal labor.
That's what Chief Judge was trying to say. It was told one thing, we applied for the job, and then something else.
Let me put it this way, I wasn't privy to all the information that y'all have with those fire investigators. It was not brought to my attention. I didn't develop it. I didn't design it. They're here. They're working 24-hour shifts. They should be working 40 hours a week. I came to y'all and explained to y'all that they need to be in a dual role responsibility on a 40-hour week. And they're where they're at.
Well, it's a good thing that our meetings are recorded. It's a good thing that the discussion we had concerning the fire inspectors are recorded as a matter of minutes.
And that was,
Go ahead.
okay, if I may, and that was one of my concerns, that a city our size, great amount of fires, but the state of Alabama don't have as many fire inspectors as we have in our wonderful city per capita. And so we have 3 fire inspectors, and that was my initial concern, and the reason why I did not vote that we do this, because once you get a raise and you have an expectation that they will it's way. So there's a whole lot to go through with that, but when it comes forth, their meeting minutes that show our intentions.
Yeah.
I don't know what the leadership at the fire department conveyed, but I know that it wasn't my intention to give 3 people the same position in our small city. When we have a fire marshal that lives right here in Dallas County, and that's one of the things I kept saying, that the fire marshal lives right here in Dallas County. And the state says he can handle all the fires in a certain area, but we need 3 people in our small city. I didn't think it was fiscally responsible. I didn't think that we were going to be able to hold them accountable. And I don't know how they laid it out, 24 hours or 40 hours, but those were concerns that I had. And so we'll deal with it when it comes forward.
And,
Because I think the nexus of it was the fact that we wanted them to sort of do a role as code enforcement. And that was the driving force.
That was the kid.
That's caveat, yeah.
Which is irrelevant to this point.
well, you're correct.
Because they've got a lawsuit against the city, and that's kind of how it goes.
Okay, I didn't even think about it.
Drop that.
I don't know if
First time.
it's right.
Yeah, thank you for telling me.
Thank you.
Possibly
We
be
didn't know.
used as retaliation.
We didn't know.
Yeah, let's drop the conversation about it. I think the meeting might be a good idea.
Thank you.
Litigation, would you agree, Chief?
Thank you for making us aware.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other questions for Chief?
No, sir.
Okay.
Right here, Chief, is Woodrow still closed down?
Yes.
It is browned out is what we're calling it, because the fire investigators work out of that station. It does not operate as a fire suppression fire station.
But they could respond to a fire and be utilized as a firefighter.
No, it can't.
No.
That's part of it.
But doesn't that hurt us? Doesn't that hurt us? Doesn't that hurt us by, in that area that you got that fire department? That hurts the city. Doesn't that hurt us?
Yes, ma'am. I have been diligently working for the past 4 months as an interim fire chief. And I've hired 5 recruits that are going off to recruit school. I've hired 4 certified individuals. 2 of them have left for personal reasons. And the 2 that I've hired during those 4 months are still here. And I've got another certified guy that's looking to be a fireman that actually left Prattville and is looking to come back to Selma. So I'm working hard to get Station 5 open back up. I agree it does hurt the city, but I had to relocate those individuals from that station because I didn't have enough on A shift and B shift to cover that station. C shift was being held every single day. And what happens there is you've got people who are working 48 hours constantly, and they're not being able to spend time with their family. It does affect our ISO issue with the city, but like I said, I'm working as hard as I can right now to to get some more individuals in this fire department, so we can get Station 5 up and back up.
Then you look at the fatigue factor. Councilwoman.
Chief, I just want to be clear in my head, because you said it more than once.
Councilwoman Jackson.
When a person takes, the position of firefighter, how many hours do you tell them? Are they told that they're gonna work? How many hours are they told they're gonna work?
When they're first hired?
Yeah.
They are advised that we are under a 48-hour condition where you possibly will be held over. We've got some part-time positions that are out there that are helping in those cases where we can let individuals go home for 24, 48 hours.
No, I just wanted to know what they were told at hiring. They're told about the 48 hours at hiring?
Since I've been the interim, I have advised every single person that I've hired that they will be
And they can
possibly
either
working
accept the
48
job
hours.
or turn it down, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, like I said, I'm constantly trying to hire some more people in the department, so it is going to.
I'm just making sure they were aware what they were getting into, because
Yes.
more than once and more than twice, and probably 3 times you said, they're working 48 hours, they're not being with their family. So I thought I was being unclear what they were told at hiring, what they are told at hiring, what this job entails.
Since they've been there.
Right.
Councilwoman Jackson.
2 things, Chief, what is general? So we know that because of the shortage, they're working 48 hours. What are they generally working?
What are they generally working?
If we were fully staffed, what would their schedule look like?
24 hours, 48 hours off.
So now they're working 48 hours on and 24 hours? Am I
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the part-time is helping out in some of those instances. It may not be every week that's happening or every shift, but we actually let a guy go home this afternoon.
But you
because
already
one of the
given him
part-time
some
ones come in and work, so.
The other thing that I want to say to you is thank you. I hadn't heard that you actually have 5 recruits going to the college. I hadn't heard that you actually hired 4 people. 2 may have left, but those are things that we don't know. We don't know your story unless you tell us. And so I'm so glad to hear that you're working to get our numbers up. And so I want to say kudos to you, and we're thankful.
Very good.
Didn't know about the lawsuit either.
Yeah, and thank you about the lawsuit. Didn't know about that.
Councilman.
I was gonna say the same thing. Thank you, Chief, for stepping in the situation you stepped in. I know it's been difficult. We just talked about the fact we don't have part-time employees earlier with our police chief, but apparently we do have part-time employees because you have some.
We've got 9 positions. I have 6, and there's 5 or 6 more that have already turned in their applications.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was hoping that would be something that'd be good for those guys, kind of getting there, maybe retirees and folks that were firefighters. That's great to hear. I appreciate you going that direction. And again, appreciate you stepping in with where you stepped in and trying as best you can, given the difficulties you're facing, both in personnel and funding and concrete and just about everything else. So, welcome to the family, welcome to the mess. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Chief Green, that was one of your objectives too, to bring back part-time employees.
He was informed by HR, we don't do that.
What's the problem?
I was told they didn't exist.
Well, we do contract.
Can you come, thank you, Chief.
All right.
Chief Green, can you come forward?
She said,
They're like unicorns, are they, Chief? They don't exist.
Okay, because I know you were currently down to
Don't.
31.
okay, and I think from my understanding, prior to you coming in, you said that you want to bring some part-time.
Yes, I was to bring some of the
Citizens part-time.
old veterans back to help out so we could increase our staffing levels. But I was told by personnel that we didn't have part-time positions.
Well, since we create jobs.
We can create some part-time positions.
I mean, it's last.
How many you need?
At least 4 or 5.
But
Would the chief give us in writing?
Do you need a
What
resolution?
he's
now?
recommending that we support them in, and I have no problem with it, but I think it would be wise for you to lay out for this council
How many?
how these 4 guys will be utilized within Fort Park, Chief. I think that's the best way.
Go ahead and do 5. 4 or 5.
we'll do 5. Let's go to that.
You have 9, is that correct? Chief Graham?
I have
9 slots, 9 positions.
Right, and I only have 6 that are filled.
So 9 part-time.
Yeah, there's, yeah,
I guess what we probably can do with that, do we need a resolution on that, just? put it
I
on
didn't
the-
hear
Well, they-
everything. What, so
On the
tell me
consent,
what
I mean,
we're
I was
talking
talking to Ms. Wade,
Tell me what we're
as far as
talking
we're looking at creating some position for part-time, with the salaries of full-time, so it's not, fund is already there.
Yeah, no
No
effect,
additional, yeah.
no effect in the budget in terms of dollar amount, but giving him permission to hire part-time with the salary savings of full-time positions.
Chief, you know how many you need, Chief?
at least 4.
Yeah, we're gonna do 5, just in case in the resolution.
And boom, they exist.
Thank you, Chief.
There you go.
Chief, it's Christmas in August for both of you all. All right, any other
Interim.
questions?
Team interim.
Oh, yeah, Chief,
Get it done.
before you go, you're already working on your 4 or 5, or you gotta go out and scout?
No, I
This
was
guy-
You're-
told initially that they didn't have a position for part-time employees.
Well, guess what? Let me-
So you were already working on it, you went to HR, and HR said, that's a no-go. You already knew
Yes.
who you need, okay, so you just need to plan.
Wow, okay. All right,
You gonna write a letter to HR?
let's see the consent agenda. Let's see the consent agenda.
Okay, tomorrow.
All right, back to the business article. Budget timeline process. Ms. Wade passed out the budget timeline. I'm gonna ask each council member to also, start with your committees to make sure, committee chairs, to go through the budget in that particular area that you're chairing. If you would, go through there and, prove that area. And if you can, meet with that department head. Based on the budget that the mayor submitted to us. Meet with the department head prior to we come together as a full council. So if you are chairing a committee, if you would, please just, go through that budget with that particular committee and get with the, department head. And let's see, can we do that within the next week or so? And then after that we will come before the full council at the finance committee. Because the finance committee is the whole council. And that way we can go there, hopefully we can expedite, some of the questions. And I know it's gonna be a follow-up to several questions with this particular budget, but we have to have that budget, approved by October 1st. We have 1 or 2 choices. We can either adopt the budget, or we can just pursue with the current budget that we have. But I'm just giving you the options, that's all. But we definitely need to move forward. What's that now? I'm talking about the budget that we currently operating on now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I see Councilwoman Young.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'm on the Public Safety Committee and the Buildings Committee and Chair of the Community Development Committee. I am leaving Thursday and will be back the following Thursday. I'll be out of the country and, but for that week, I know that's a crucial budget time. For the Public Safety Committee in particular, I would like to be present for that committee meeting. So if you're gonna have it this week, great, but if you could have it after that week, I hope that committee is going to meet with Chief Green, prior to budget. I plan to have a committee meeting with community development with Mr.
This
Thompson. I want this week to meet with Mr. Thompson, and have to be a real quick one. But, anyway, so, because I think it is important for our committees to meet with the department heads.
That's right.
Okay.
Very crucial.
Okay. All right, Councilwoman Young.
We're a bit behind. I knew that, that's why I kept asking like this. We gotta get this posted and take to the counter or something, so so we can keep up with it. We are a good bit behind.
Way behind.
You might as well call this week September.
Yeah.
This is the end of August. And we're right here in the middle of what y'all looking at. We're that last month that y'all looking at. That's where we should be. So it's gonna be some hard work going on this week.
We just got our budget, we just got his budget last week, didn't
He's ahead of himself.
we? Yes.
I'm talking about us too.
Right. We were supposed to be
According to
over.
the timeline, he's good. But it's us, we're behind.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
So what are we doing this week is the question, is the real question.
Well, the real question is, just take each committee, meet with the department heads, go over the budget. Make sure that, the department head is available. We can do
They're
it this
not,
week.
they're not available.
They will be available.
Oh, you gonna make sure that?
They will be available, yes.
Okay. That's me.
Good luck.
I got their copy of what.
They already have a copy of it, and they have to work hand in hand with us on this deal here, so we move forward. And I guarantee, come hell or high water, they will do
Okay, so, Mr. President, when they're not available, you want us to go ahead on our own?
it. Go ahead and do what we have to do on our own,
You want
yes.
us to,
But come
project?
hell or high water, they'll be here.
Okay, well, when the high water comes, do we meet with the finance department?
Well, she can be part of it.
No, what I think we should do also, when the high water comes and hell comes and projections, Ms. Wade, that first box on the left, the top right hand corner, can we work off of that? That's a doable plan?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So just let me know, email it to me, when you wanna meet with the department heads, this week or next week, then we'll move forward with it.
All right.
Cause you got to remember, it's quid pro quo.
Okay, so just email you the date that we want you to ask them.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Alright,
Thank you.
alright, any other?
As the administrative chair, I can meet with everybody?
Yeah.
Or how about we just look at the budget, start making cuts? How's that? Is that work good? Can I get up departments if we
Yeah,
want?
you need to go around and look at all
Yeah,
the
look at- look at-
I've looked at enough of the.
and all that stuff.
Yeah,
You look at,
I'm picking up right where I left off in the last budget cycle. There's some things we need to cut, and they're
Go
sitting there
around.
just causing a mess, so let's get rid of them and move on.
Go around.
Isn't that right, Ms. Thomas?
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. President, and finally, before we get off this topic, as we go along, can we do this council and, have it in the back of our head that we're also talking about the inventory, what's the real name?
Inventory clerk?
Fixed asset inventory person. As we go around to these departments, can we keep it in the back of our head that we also need to be taking mental notes or reading notes concerning inventory?
That's a good point, Councilwoman. We got.
No, I'm saying, if you go to a department and you all are discussing, let's say, laptops.
Yes.
And you may have a question about where are the current laptops. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just keep it in the back of our heads.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you know how to tag.
So I'm not attacking it.
So you know how to tag.
Are we making progress with that now? I mean,
We have the specs for the bid, so the RFP, so hopefully by tomorrow we'll be ready to go.
All right, thank you. Also, too, I want to follow back up for Councilwoman Jackson. With this surplus, we have a copy of the old ordinance, we just gonna amend it and just add it, the ones that the new ones, yeah. So I'm gonna use the same resolution number and just do an amendment to it. Councilwoman Jackson.
I wanted to know, are you gonna give us a timeline, say, Monday, September 14th, even if that's Monday, that we'll start doing our budget hearings together? I mean,
Because people-
Yeah, I will.
I don't, we say what we're going to do today, but I think if we're going to be on task by September the 25th and have a budget in process so that it's good in the system and it will be working by October 1, I think we're going to have to give ourselves 2 weeks and then come together and find
I
it. So we
can
need to
calendar
solidify
that.
that date.
I will.
Okay. Well,
And what time would be pretty good? I mean, Tuesday, Wednesday, I mean,
in the afternoon, if it's not a Tuesday, I'll run out if I'm late, but I don't mind meeting in the afternoon.
When is the next work session? Work session day?
It's the 9th.
Can we turn work session into work session?
That's, yeah.
Yeah, you can turn it.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody
Good
got
idea.
It's already on everybody's schedule.
Good
Right,
idea.
and then we talked about, the last time we kind of did, we just worked for the budget.
Yeah.
And then kind of handle any new business, any,
Budget
we
work
just got
session.
to be budget work for 2 weeks. Work session.
So we can budget out.
Yeah, let's budget out to the 25th.
Bring some food.
Can I just wait,
Yes, sir.
Could you do this for me, since I'm Public Works, General Services Chairman, could you take the current budget and compare it to the budget that the mayor presented and note the difference?
I sure
Then when I get that, I'll meet with the department head and we'll go why this is less and why this is more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman, do you mind? This is on his question.
Just, I'm gonna give you something real good.
Okay, go ahead.
Off the subject just a little bit. She spoke of food. You know, we got a council person that's having a birthday. And she told me not to bring anything, that she didn't need anything. But I wanted to make sure that you all had something, somebody mentioned food. And so these are red velvet cheesecake, cupcakes. I heard, look, I tried to say, what? All right, now you can ask the question.
Ask the question.
I'm sorry.
You brought out cheesecake, but,
And they're fresh.
were you asking her that, just for the property that you're covering, or the whole budget? What are these for?
This is
Her birthday is Thursday.
Her 21st birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that for me.
Am I supposed to take one?
Yeah, we got them all around, so
Oh, good, I can feed the, good folks out.
Are you okay?
they're good and fresh.
They're beautiful.
I will share mine with you.
I spent all night
Okay. Next, we have fire chief interviews. I just wanted to give you an update. The committee would meet on Wednesday of this week,
what day, Wednesday, what time?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Here?
Here, yeah.
Okay.
4 o'clock here to go ahead and formulate questions for the interviews. And our interview will start next, I think Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday?
Yeah.
What time, the interviews will start, you said Wednesday and Thursday, at what time?
We'll talk about that in the committee. I'll send an email out.
Wednesday, Thursday next week.
Yes, sir.
Fire chief.
Yeah, at the George Evans Field.
This week?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it
No,
today.
you're saying two different things, right?
What's that? No, basically,
You're gonna formulate-
the committee is gonna meet
This week.
this Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Formulate questions
Go ahead
and
and
stuff.
formulate the interview questions.
Wednesday.
Next week, Wednesday and Thursday,
Actual
will be the actual interviews of the candidates.
And you'll let us know.
And I'll let you know. I'll send out the email.
Yes.
I'll give you a copy of the schedule and everything. Then hopefully, if you feel comfortable with it, we can just
I will,
move forward at the
we'll
next
let you
meeting with the fire chief. It's up to you all if you feel comfortable. Like I said before, it's gonna be the top 3 candidates. And then the council would move forward, and select from there.
Okay.
But that's why I want to encourage, everyone to attend,
Yeah.
the interview.
What time Wednesday?
No, I'm talking about.
For your committee meeting,
At 4 o'clock.
at 4?
But the following week is gonna be the interviews. And
Yeah, I just want to be a part of the process.
I wanna make sure that, as many council members as possible, please attend. Okay?
You want to attend the meeting, we
Formulate the question of the
Formulate the
interview.
question.
No, just interviews. Yeah.
Interviews.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, I'm coming to the meeting where y'all formulating
You
questions,
can come
because I
along.
want to just be a part of the whole process. I just want to,
and when that meeting?
Wednesday.
Wednesday coming up at 4.
28.
4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
I got it.
Mr. President, I would let you know that I'll be running today and tomorrow. I'll be out of town, both days for work.
Okay.
But I'll be running back, not today and tomorrow, I'm sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday. But
Next
I'll be
week?
running
Back and forth.
Okay.
starting tomorrow and Wednesday, but I'll be running to try to get here on time. I have
Okay.
to have appointments, meetings at the administrative office support, so.
Great, that's fine. All right, my next item is the entertainment district. I know I need to go ahead and get that resolution back We had laws put in place,
About the-
rules and regulations. I think I just need to locate the resolution.
Yeah, copy.
Copy of it. Do we do?
I think we got, not me, the very, very, astute mistakes as a filing system back there, and I think it would be easy to find.
Okay.
I think that one would be easy.
Okay, I get a copy and I just make sure each council member has a copy of that. Okay, next we have Councilwoman, Youngblood.
I think a very astute and adept treasurer, Ms. Wade, has located some money for us to be able to get the wood chipper. Is that true, Ms. Wade?
Yes.
We can talk.
Public Works,
And
we discussed, they had to use most of that fuel, right?
Right.
So we could take it from there if you like, because we only have 1 month for payment. I think they only use like less than 50%. So.
And
That's just a suggestion.
remember, we got money from the Public Works personnel to do, for some of our work to do, so could we do that? Could we put that on, could we consent that? Is everybody okay with that? And go ahead and get that wood chipper, because here's the thing, we are about to get into the time where leaves are falling and limbs are falling, well, a lot of them are falling. And if we can be mulching those limbs and leaves and go and get that started, that's a lot that's not gonna go into that inert landfill. So,
Did you say personnel, or did you say
Gasoline, yeah, I was that, I was gonna do auto fuel, or either one, that we still.
no, I was just comparing that when we did the money to contract to do our grass cutting, we had some excess money in personnel from people that were laid off, or didn't,
So we moved it.
so we moved it, and I'm just comparing that.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying that, I was just
Just so we can be specific of what's going on the, consent agenda.
I'll email.
Our few.
Email that to me and also.
Since they haven't been driving.
Right.
Well, Ms. Wade, could you consent and find some money to get me a watch?
Did you say WIFE?
Did he say white? Full-time bachelor?
Mr.
That's just a joke.
I was looking at you.
You heard it here first
That's a joke.
at David Blackman's Productions. You
You
heard it here first.
I worked all night.
Oh, Jesus.
No, yes, you know I did.
I
I
guess,
got to dig in, I'm just piggish, I can't wait.
I guess I'll be proposed to Councilwoman Benjamin. That was Academy building.
For the record, this will be the third council member that I'm going to be marrying. Ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing to do with this. No matter what you read on Facebook or hear from this man's mouth.
Sometimes you just have to laugh.
All the
But
time.
I love it, I love it, I love it.
Sometimes you just have to laugh through this thing.
I moved to property 4 years ago.
I had the ring in 2016.
All right, Councilwoman Thomas.
Okay, with the Dallas Academy, I would like to put on, for Tuesday night for us to do a vote, on the balance, remaining balance of the Dallas Academy building. We're gonna put the air conditioning. We talked about it, we needed the balance, we said it was there. This way we found it in, public building funds.
Did we do all, did we do
No,
all these funds?
no,
It's something different.
This, the insurance paid $40,451, and
We
the total
need it.
is $44,451. And public buildings have money available in their building repair and maintenance. And I spoke with Terry Davis, well, indirectly through the county manager, and how you put it on the consent agenda to be able to move it, because it's an actual fixed asset purchase when we're purchasing equipment. So I just want to put that on the consent agenda.
Email me.
I did.
Email it.
So is that 4,000 or less than 4,000?
It's 4,000.
it's 4
Total,
times.
like total?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And we need to, vote on it.
Okay.
tomorrow, and we can use that.
That's
And,
good.
also,
We can consent that kind of.
and also we need to keep in mind
I'm gonna go back and do it tonight.
Ms. Youngblood,
4,000.
also, we need to keep in mind too, that I talked to, the gentleman that's doing the contract. He said that, the best thing that we need to do with the security for not taking those acquisitions anymore, he said instead of us putting the cages, he said we need to put the iron rail fence up high all the way around, because the way this acquisition unit is being put in, it would not do us, the cages would not be the right ones to put. We need to do the one where we make the, like, to block it in and make it up so that, but it has to be with the iron.
With the spikes.
Yes, he said,
He certainly knows.
Yes, he told me, so I brought this to the council, so, once we need to, think about how we're gonna do with this, are we gonna use all these money cause it's dealing with the city property, for how much it's gonna cost us to get this cage to go all the way around, to protect, to keep the thief from getting in again.
Okay. So we'll put that on the consent agenda tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
She
What
got
other
it.
projects? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Did he tell us how much it would cost for the cage?
Well, he told me first, I told him and he'll give it to me tomorrow, I will present it to you.
Did you talk to Bo? Mr.
That's
Bo?
what, that's the man I talked to.
Good.
He talked to me yesterday.
Good.
Not yesterday, he talked to me Friday, we had a talk.
Because I was thinking that maybe we could see if any additional funds was in the building fund, since we're right here at the end of the year, because when they
You
come
gotta
in.
use the money.
Right, when they come in, we really need to put them down, because they stole 4 of my sewer tops last night in my ward. And so
The
if
new
they-
sewers
I
talk?
haven't gotten the new ones yet, but that's 4 more I need. I'm already at 24,000.
Well, they
So-
take that to the
But, so if
junkyard.
they're, right, so if they're stealing, I don't want them to come in as soon as we put our new
But that's
acquisition
why-
in that night and steal them.
And that's why I brought it to everybody's attention, the ones that are present, I brought it to everybody's attention that I will be coming with that. I wanted to put it on there, so you'll know the price of, he told me he'll give it to us. He'll have everything laid out.
Okay.
That'd be good.
Yes, Mr. President,
Okay,
I just want to
Councilwoman
say,
Young.
I just want to say, I just appreciate Councilwoman Thomas so much. She has done more with the public buildings and with her tenacity and just getting things done. Now, I know Councilwoman Benjamin had done, she had said the time she got things, the ball rolling, she really got, I think, public buildings as a opportunity for money making, and before this crew, came on. But I'm gonna tell you something, but I think y'all are a good team on that, but Councilwoman Thomas, they just wouldn't even be usable if you hadn't gotten in there and just scraped like you have. And they wouldn't be as, the revenue stream, it used to be and will be again one of these days, but, if Angela hadn't gotten in there and done like she done. But I tell you what, I appreciate it so much. I just want to say that. I know
Thank you, and I
everybody-
thank everybody work, I think we're a team here, each committed, and anybody need anybody to do any footwork or work with them, moving something, that's what we all about, moving self forward.
That's right. You got a great
And
attitude.
this is another thing that I did the reason why the Dallas Academy building floor and these electric plugs are not finished for the ceramic shop. I thought that the department head was the one that's supposed to go in after you do the repair. But it didn't happen that way. From my understanding with the report that I got I asked President Boer to send back to me, I read it. We have a man that wore the hats, the many hats. He was the one that went into the building. Sean Van Dyke needs to go back. He has This has got to be finished. He went in, they fixed the 2 floors up. They're fixed. They're hardwood floors. But then the ceramic area is not finished. So the first person that came in and removed all the carpet, what's the name of that company? They came in. They should have replaced that because they removed it. They should have replaced that then, but they didn't. And then the person that came in to do the electric work, he should have finished up doing the electric work, but he didn't. So these people that got paid, everybody got paid. So now we got to get the insurance. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I talked to, they told me what I'm gonna have to do is that we're gonna have to contact Tim, I've been trying to get him, Tim Coke, what's his name? Is his name Tim Coke?
Oh, I can't remember.
Well, he's the one that we're gonna have to contact to come back. And, well, I think Ms. Ivy and the insurance company need to work on that because these people have got paid. And they said that, Sean Van Dyke was the one that did the walkthrough, but I thought maybe the department head person that was supposed to be the one that go in after they finish to make sure everything was done. And this is the problem, once we get the electricity fixed and get the flowing, and everything will be fine, and then we just get the air conditioning and the other outside, it'll be ready. But we gotta first go back to the ones that did the work to see if we can get them back in there. So I'm gonna have to find some money for the insurance because it was filed.
We still talking about that?
Mhm.
So some more money?
Yeah, but the reason what happened was the person that went, they were supposed to look and made sure that everything was done before these people left. But Van Dyke was the one, he's the one that the insurance company was dealing with all the time. That's what the paper said. It said that they directly deal with Sean Van Dyke. I read it. And Sean Van Dyke was the one that was supposed to walk through. But he didn't do a thoroughly check to make sure that everything was put back the way it was. So now we gotta find a way, Corey, you're gonna have to contact Jerry P. and find out what's the next step, how we're gonna get this finished. Because these people have got paid.
Maybe we can do an adjustment, Mr. President, once you file a claim,
Mhm.
there's always some cases, we're not all do adjustment.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we're gonna have to get the insurance to go back and, get an adjustment, we need to get the clerk. Mhm.
To go back in and look at that. Sometimes they miss some things, but I can.
Cause that person was the one that signed off on this.
Sometimes
And-
one thing leads to another. Sometimes, but I check with Mr. Dixon.
Okay, will you please do? And my next, is the bond project. The reason why I'm asking you this is because we all received this about, public work bidding process. We had this here, and I'm very concerned about this because, some of us, some council, we go by this, and then some council don't. So when I hear you talk about, contracts, we say any money spent over a certain period amount of money, that it includes bond too. It includes the bond money too. So I want to say, well, how can the council have to go by doing our bidding contract, and we can have certain departments not do bidding contracts and have people paying a certain amount of money to people, and we don't have a contract in there. So they're breaking the bidding process with these contracts.
Give us some examples.
Okay, like we use, I use one department, like, we'll go down through, we start with the IT department. They have the bidding money, they got a bond, they got the bond money. And from me looking at some of the things that I was looking at, and I was trying to find a contract to see if there was a contract done. We have Mr. Green in, we pay him quite a bit of money out of, IT department. And, I was trying to figure out, okay, I went back to this, I wanted to read up on this here. And I asked Ms. Wade, I know Wade get tired of me, but I asked her. I said, Ms. Wade, can you tell me something?
This way you never get tired.
Okay, well, you know, well, I asked her, I said, Ms. Wade, does that mean that any money that we're spending, like the bond money, if you're paying a contractor in here working in IT, don't they supposed to have a contract too? Or then the contract supposed to be came before the council or something? We should know that we're paying that amount of money to someone and we don't have a contract? Am I right, council?
That's what the attorney told us about our contract. Yes.
But I'm just saying, how could the council, we have to go by
The mandate.
yes, but how can we have someone, don't have a contract and we're paying quite a bit of money and no contract? How are we allowed this?
Cease and desist immediately.
But I'm just saying, a contract should come up. It's not,
So what you're saying, there's a person in IT by the name of Green is being paid?
yes, I'm saying definitely he's getting paid, but there's no contract. And I wanna know but it says it right here. That means that somebody got to do what's right. And he has got to have a contract because the rules it contains to us, so why not? It's not happening here. Ms. Wade, does you have a contract? Do you know if we have a contract yet?
I've inquired to the IT director, Ms. Curtis, and, she said there's supposed to be one, but the clerk and I, neither one of us could find a contract.
So where is the contract?
It's like a
I
unicorn.
mean, if it happens,
Councilwoman Jackson.
prior to, me leaving several different times, there was no contract, so I don't know if one occurred in my absence, so,
Well, the one that assists you should know, Ms. Oliver, she should know if there was a contract done.
well, the contract would have had to come through council.
But we
before.
never seen a contract. That's why I'm
Therefore,
being
it
straight,
don't
y'all.
exist.
We have to do right. So we expecting other people to carry out the right way. This is still government city money.
That's correct. Even the bond money, all is included. City.
Yes, it's still city money.
How much is he being paid?
Oh,
Oh, they vary over a period of time. I don't have a cumulative
Well-
total, but, it's a considerable amount over a period of time.
So there's no set amount he's being paid, it's sporadic based on what that's being done?
Services, but, yes.
and
The company you see is the one that does the installation of all our cameras, our IT work that's contracted out, that they're the person that's pretty much sole source to do our IT work.
so they really run the IT room, so as the well, I'm just putting it like this. This gentleman that we have in here, really, he's the one that's running the IT room with the website and keeping everything up.
I don't know exactly all he does, but I do know he's responsible for, our network, our camera service, and different things like that. When you see them in the bucket truck and doing the installations and stuff like that.
But they're on like every day, come to work every day, 5 days a week.
No, he's a contractor, so whatever services, our IT director needs him to do, related to IT, I guess he will perform that service.
But that's what I'm saying, but they must be, how are you gonna have the councils by law to have us to go by this here, and we have someone else? See, this here black and white right here tell you what you're supposed to do. Now, I go by this here. Now, I expect, if we gotta go by it, and we have other people getting paid, why not? Well, we gotta get a contract.
That's Exhibit A.
This what tells you right here. And this is what, yes. So when we do something, they go through a fine pick to see if each council is doing what they're supposed to do. So that's why I was concerned. And I am, because this is what I have to go by to make sure that I'm doing right and following what, Councilor Shaw put before us, that contracts. He just did, we voted on what he said, that we're supposed to do. So how are we gonna allow this to happen? And it needs to be corrected.
Good point, Councilman. Hello, Councilman.
Go on.
Well, more importantly, I mean, we spend a lot of money in IT department, but we have full-time IT staff. So that's kind of confusing in and of itself. Why do you have a full-time staff if you've got to spend so much money outside to get somebody to come in here and do the work? Seems like we're paying two people to do one person's job, and neither one of them really are doing a very good job at it, considering some of the problems we've had in the police department and other places with computer issues. To your point, yes, it'd be nice if everybody followed the rules, but unfortunately we don't have anybody following the rules, it seems like, in certain places, and as a result of that, we're overpaying people for something that we don't even know we're getting, because you can't even get emails regularly here in the city. So I concur. I hope you continue to dig that out and find out the solution to that problem, because it's a big one.
And then there's another one I would like to tell the council. Do everybody remember that building we voted for, that money we paid for?
What bill?
Y'all forgot?
The riverfront.
Remember when Henry came before us and asked the city to, for us to buy the vote, to buy the building, the red building? The building?
Riverfront.
Oh,
The bathrooms.
Okay, yeah, that building, also, I did look, I know, y'all might say, well, I just, when I see something in my eyes, I want to ask you, how can the company, the same person that's here, or have, up on the, using the name of the company that he's working for, can be doing repair, doing woodwork, saying he's did work to the building. Using up under the name of the company.
Is it wiring or something or what?
There's no on the old building, really. I mean, it's not really.
The building that was supposed to be turned into the restroom?
The restroom,
Yeah,
yes.
it's
That's the building, that's what I'm talking about. It was some work did on that building, supposed to be did on that building, using up on the, what's it, Black Belt, his business name. And it was said that the work was done, there was quite a bit of work done up under there, saying to the building. So I'm trying to figure out, we don't have no contract, then we got this here, work being
What you
done.
trying to do, the internet journal or something?
I don't know what's going on, but I'm just very,
Technology center.
yeah, it's supposed to be some kind of, saying it's a technology center.
I thought it was a restroom.
Restroom, because they were not in the
That's
facility.
what I'm telling you.
Is that literally what it says,
illegal.
technology center?
This is why I'm asking you guys, we have been, that's why they talk about us, but, I think we've been doing good and doing right, but, some other things have not been right. So I'm trying to figure
I
out,
thought
we voted, the Henry came before us,
I thought we used it as bathrooms.
it's not used for no man.
Cause I didn't know it.
Tech center.
I think we spent over 90 something.
90 something.
100, that was 100 and something.
Restroom.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Miss Jane, Councilwoman Thomas, do you think you could get the minutes to that meeting and find out what we bought that for?
I sure did.
I remember.
That's what we voted
Why
on.
don't you get
Yeah,
that?
get the minutes. Yeah.
We voted on that.
Because I think that we got special funding to do a particular thing with that building.
Henry came before us.
I believe he
He came
did.
before us and.
But I believe
and
we
voted
probably,
to, for that building to be
probably
used for
need the
something.
minutes.
She can get the minutes on this.
I believe that's.
So that's why I
Thank you so
asked, see,
much.
they got me called, that's why they're talking
That would
about
be
me.
great.
But I don't care, cause I'm very nosy, and when I spot something, I'm sure gonna dig, and I'm gonna bring it back to her, because it's not fair that you talk about us, and we trying to do right, and other things are going on, and I don't think that's not right.
Okay, speaking of light, you shining the light, let's go to the light switch.
That's another thing.
Okay, Councilwoman Jackson.
Councilwoman Thomas, I want to say thank you. I think the process in IT has been circumvented, not only through the contract process, but through the bidding process, if you recall. back in March, before our treasurer came back, we posed the question, why have we spent nearly $100,000 more in 6 months than we spent all of last year? And so you're figuring out how we
Yeah, so this
we
is-
spent it by contracting or not contracting, utilizing someone that we don't have a contract with, and providing services that the council hadn't approved, and just circumventing the process and do whatever you want to with city funds, be it bond or general funds.
And I'd like to ask Ms. Wade, this still president, before I go
Go ahead, go
forward. Ms. Wade, can you tell me, can you give us the total amount of money we have for the bond, right now for this,
The balance.
the balance?
Yeah, I'll give you the exact amount. I think it's about 190-some thousand, but I'll give you the exact amount.
But do we have, with that 190-some thousand left, do we have to, is it a certain point of time that it should be used?
I think we passed, the city passed that time a long time ago. A couple of years ago, I spoke with the attorney, the bond attorney and the corporate trust, and they were just saying that we need to go ahead and spend the balance as much as we can. I know IT had the bulk of the money is in IT, and they had
How
to
much
do
money they
a
have?
server upgrade, and I think they've done that. But, for the most part, that's the balance that we have.
So we have $190,000 of balance.
Yes,
And most of that money is in IT department.
that's correct.
Okay. All right, light switch box.
Okay.
Boxes.
And another thing, I seen, I don't know what's going on, and this dealing with our department head. How many months have we bought these, switch boxes, Ms.?
2 months?
Is it 2 months going on, close to 3?
I think it was like
Maybe.
Okay, May, June, July, August, here we get ready to go into September. The reason why I ask is that, we have some serious problem with our lights, and we are a city that, and I seen this the other day, on Dallas, on Chestnut Boulevard going out between, what's that street, Maya, going around by your ward? Is it?
just not
You know, when you get to the light, we got this light up there.
by the food outlet,
By the animal hospital.
medical
Animal.
department.
Medical center,
Cahaba Road Medical Center.
okay, Cahaba Road. That light, I don't know, it's some bad, I've seen almost some bad accident. That light, goes out, and it turns around and go this way. You're trying to see what color, when you got to go, and if you got to go to the left, the signal for you to go. We need to, we've been, and the one on Franklin, there's something wrong with it, get the camera to catch you. That light goes out and on, and a lot of people complaining because they are getting tickets from the light on Franklin. So we purchased 10 switch boxes, and we haven't got anything done yet. In my area, these are main areas that traffic flow, that we want to know when are they gonna start putting these boxes. We didn't buy those boxes just to sit up in public work. We need to know when
Are they still there?
Yeah, I read they there. I don't know now. I can't say they there because I haven't been out there. They don't have anybody be out
Yeah, we got to
there.
get somebody,
Well,
put them up.
you know,
They said they-
ADOT, they had offered, we need to see if they willing to come and help, or we need to pay to get we need to get these lights up.
What we may need to do is send a letter to see, inquire about it, see if they help facilitate in this process.
Yeah, because those lights need to be
They
up.
said that
It-
Stephen is supposed to be working with them to get it completed. They did offer assistance. So you might want to.
You might want to do a follow-up.
Yeah, we need those lights, those lights need to be working.
Yeah, you may need to do a follow-up with that then.
No. Councilwoman Thomas, I purchased, street, signs to the tune of $8,900. And they've been sitting in public works since February. They haven't had the opportunity to put them up.
Well, I put my own, what you got?
The street signs, and they told me we weren't allowed to have someone else that Public Works, because I would have contracted someone to put them up. They said, Mr., what's his name, the older gentleman, there's only one gentleman that.
Leader is the man with the lights too.
Right.
He the only
He's
person.
He's the person that have to put them up. And I tried to see if I could pay personally for him to come over overtime or
Oh, I
he's
thought you
off
were
work,
talking
and they
about
told me I
stuff.
couldn't do that either. So I just don't know what to do to get the street signs up, because people come into town and then
Oh,
they
yeah,
send
they
me
sure see.
emails and messages that's saying, we don't know what
Yeah.
street to turn on because our GPS will tell us this, but we look up and there are no street signs. And some of our corners in my ward don't have anything. But I remedied that by finally getting the funds to purchase them. We get them into Selma, and then they have to sit.
Yeah, a lady did say that this week. She said that she came to a funeral and she asked me, she said, why y'all don't have street signs up? And I said, where you was at? She said, I was trying to find my way to the relative's house and it didn't have a street sign.
Well, they love my signs. I mean, the historic signs, I took them as souvenirs. I was missing 14 when I came in, and you know, that's just the problem. Just like, I guess, like the covers, either souvenirs or because they were cast down, they took them out and sold them.
All right, Councilwoman.
Mr. President, before you
hold
go
on,
on
hold
that
on.
subject,
Councilwoman.
since we're talking, contracts, with our, well, I can bring it up on. Go ahead. We were talking about contracts, and my second grass cutting, may go, I'm using the same person, so it may go over the 15, is it 15? I'm not sure. So do I need to put this contract on consent or ask the council to approve my next grass cut? I'm using the same guy. I didn't switch vendors. I'm using the same vendors, and it may possibly go over 15. I'm using my oil lease for the ditches as we were approved for, as we were approved by when Attorney Nunn was here. But nevertheless, I'm using both funds, and it may go over. Do I need to put that on consent or something?
I know what you mean. Faucet, the bid.
I'm using the same vendor, so what is the rule for using the same vendor? He did 4,000, I think, the first time, or something like that. No, he did more than that, maybe 6,000 or something like that.
Because I think if it's consecutive, that it amassed about 15,000.
Yeah,
I think
it's
you have
15.
to.
So that's what I'm saying, there's a possibility of that, so I was thinking about just each one of my individual contracts, bring them forward, the ones that me and you just signed.
Okay.
For consent, because I'm using oil lease and the money that we approved the other day.
So it won't.
Yeah.
15.
So it won't go over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Text, well, we really don't need to,
I know.
but you just want to call it a record.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Okay. Text it to me,
I will.
because I'm getting, okay. Fire hydrant. Councilwoman.
We already talked about that. I'm just gonna get out in the morning and, I'm gonna ask some of the constituents that live in that area. You said they already came out. You said they already, so I would check with them in the morning and I would tell them you told me they had already found out did water work came out here.
Yeah.
I check on that in the morning.
All right.
But they could beat me down about that.
Councilwoman Jackson.
And-
Next 3 items.
I'm going to say this right quick, guys. I'm gonna run through mine right quick and then I'm gonna scoot out of here. I told a couple of you all that when I first got here, that Jolie came home with just all rashed up. And so I gave her some Benadryl. You know, she doesn't like to be away from me too long. And she's knocked out of here on the floor. So I'm gonna try to get her home. She told me that she still wasn't feeling good, but she wanted Dad to bring her to me. She asked me to stay home. I told her it was very important to me, so I'm gonna skedaddle. But real quickly, we talked about the 1920 budget, so I don't even need to discuss that. Downtown striping. I would like to add to the consent agenda, downtown striping, and that's parking spaces for the total $5,500 for 483 parking spaces to be cleaned and striped from Ward Avenue to Dallas Avenue, Broad to the Smitherman building. The same place that we had striped for in the downtown area. We need to also have that area striped for the parking spaces. And so I'm using my discretionary funds to get that done. And And so I would like that to be on the consent agenda. I would like everyone to know the downtown area is not an area that I just decided, hey, I want downtown to look prettier than any other area in my ward. It's because I received a call from the Department of Public Safety, and they made me aware of the striping issue with the streets. And then I've had several complaints at the same time that I received the complaint from the Department of Public Safety about the parking spaces, in particular on Water Avenue. I had a couple of people from businesses that called me and said they were nearly hit or the car because the lines are gone. And so as a part of that, I've done this. I would like to enter into the record, even though we don't have a record here, but Blackman's production is on and running, that I could not find anyone. I've asked other council members and individuals. I've asked Public Works about parking space striping, and they could not give me anyone. They did give me Ozark striping. I did ask for other vendors. They did not have any other. I tried to find other vendors, and so I went with Ozark when I was able to get the funding from. So Chandler Seal and Coating has stated that he's worked with, his name is Keith Chandler. I don't know him, but he's done work at Golden Ranch and Enterprise and Dollar Tree, and he was also looking at some work at the courthouse, and so we just got together and tried to work it out. Hopefully, they're probably having their meeting today. This is not all of downtown, but our great probate judge has stated that the block around the courthouse, that if it was a reasonable amount, they're doing their parking lot, and they've gotten a quote from him as well, that they would take our parking spaces around that entire block. So Chamber of Commerce, the courthouse, their side, on all sides, that entire block. So I get the region sides, I get the federal side, I get the Lauderdale side across from there, but they're taking that, and that's an additional $1,500 so that we don't have to incur. So I was thankful that they were willing to partner with me on that. They said they liked how downtown was looking, and they wanted to spruce up their parking lot as well. And so hopefully they'll get that approved. If not, I have to look at doing that area at another time, because all I have is the $5,500. So I would like for you to please put that on there. Also, this last thing is the Jubilee 2019 event. I think there was some miscommunication or misinformation about the reason why we came up with this, or if that we had even settled rules. If you recall, Mr. President, we met it with Mr. Walker at the 2018 Jubilee and tried to develop some things for the Ward 3 side that he came into meeting and said that he did not agree on, even though our president said, Ms. Jackson, go right now and type all of this up because it'll be something different. And I did, and he was absolutely correct. And so 2018, it happened and it went forth, but 2019 was a specific event, and only for that event. We did not set any rules for how the entertainment district should be handled on the Ward 3 side. So we did not in effect take the stance that I had originally wanted to say, hey, if you're going to be on the Ward 3 side for the 2018 event, then you can't be on the sidewalks. You cannot do this. You cannot do this. We did not lay that as the law of the land in regards to that issue. However, we did put some things in place, and the council members were present. Councilwoman Youngblood, it was on the consent agenda January 22nd, 2019, and I just happened to have the MOU on my computer that Councilwoman Benjamin told me to type up, and so it had the actual date in the council meeting approved on January 22nd, so it was easy for me to ask Ms. Ivy to pull those minutes. Councilwoman Youngblood actually took it off the consent agenda. It was consent agenda item number 4. She asked that it be removed for additional discussion. If you recall, we were still having Thursday night work sessions and then coming in Tuesday. And my colleague, Councilman LaSure, wanted to make sure that the Jubilee had enough time to discuss the things that we were bringing forth in the resolution. And so he contacted the mayor's office and he contacted Ms. Sanders, and it was a big to-do about nothing that Friday. Because what we said at that time and what we said in the council meeting on Tuesday is that we gave them essentially everything they asked for. That's essentially what we did. Councilwoman Benjamin produced pictures of us in the meeting. I don't think Attorney Fire Rose would remember that she was at the meeting or say she wasn't at the meeting. We produced pictures saying that if she was in fact at this meeting, we had a large discussion. She did not come to the second meeting, but we did have a second and follow-up meeting. I don't have enough time to meet just to meet. If we've settled something, it's settled. And I went over with the board chair the things that we were going to bring forth on the resolution. She agreed, and we went forth. It did pass that night. Councilman Johnson was present at that meeting. I don't think he recalled being present at that meeting. He was not present at any of the meetings. The first one, he said he was not aware, and I told him I'd make him aware. In the second one, his schedule did not allow him to attend. And I understand that, but he was present. The only thing that he voiced at that time, according to the meetings, was, and I quote him if I can find it real quick. Let me paraphrase it because I just don't see it. That we treat the other event. What was the other?
Battle of Selma?
Battle of Selma. That we treat the Battle of Selma with the same. Councilman Johnson stated that whatever we do for the Jubilee, that we need to make sure that we are willing to do the same for the Battle of Selma.
That's right.
Councilwoman Benjamin concurred and stated as Councilwoman Thomas brought the matter to them, they did discuss doing the same in the fairness thereof. Councilman LeSure stated that his only concern about bringing it up was to make sure that there was no problem, that he supports the Jubilee and that the communication between this council and mayor occurred so that Jubilee will go forward without a hitch. So Councilwoman Jackson stated we need someone to be over this Battle Selma committee, then maybe someone else should step up. And if no one steps up, I'll step up again. But and it says in the meeting, I stepped up to the Jubilee 2019 event. That was the only event that I stepped up to. I was doing it for 1 year. And if the council see fits that they would like for me to step up again, I don't mind. But I think it was 2 great meetings. Do you not, Councilwoman?
Yeah, they were perfect meetings.
Great meetings. We had representatives from everyone, but the recommendation went forth. We had a meeting. Councilman Johnson abstained until he can get a better understanding. He said, I'm going to abstain until I get a better understanding. And we were voting to give them what they asked for. And the roll call was taken and it passed that they had access to Broad Street, to Lawrence Street, moving to the east side, Broad Street to Lawrence Street, access to the Evans Building Amphitheater, no trucks or vendors in park or surrounding sidewalk because they had access to all the parks. Is that not correct, Councilwoman? They had access to Phoenix and the Butterfly Park down there as well as the amphitheater.
Right.
But no food trucks or vendors were to be in any of those parks. The gate at Washington Street, Franklin Street, Green Street, Lawrence Street, for which they would be providing service to and not the city. They were going to have those gates. That they would provide a letter to the business in the area underlining their move, the major traffic, and we asked the Selma Times-Journal to do a story so the businesses and residents are aware, and we approved overtime. That is all that was about. We did not make it any other issue. It was about simply Jubilee 2019. And so if there are any rules, I think I heard the president say initially that there are rules and guidelines set forth for the entertainment district as a whole. And so if there are rules and guidelines, they were not looked at as a part of this. We did not set any rules and guidelines to say Ward 3 can't have grease, but Ward 8 can have grease. One side of Ward Avenue is better than the other side. One side is, we did not do anything but look at a simple event and make a conscious decision about how best to serve this event and the citizens of Selma.
While we're taking our investment.
Question. So there won't be no problem with the Jubilee being on the east side of Ward Avenue? Is that what you're telling me?
Which side is the east side?
That's the side at the wild game is gonna have their function because of the construction of the St. James. For the west side.
What's that? Well, I think as we're looking at the Jubilee and any other event, we need to look at them as they come. And I think that we need to set rules for the entertainment district, period. And I think part of those rules are that whoever's there, that they don't need to be on the sidewalk. I think we said that, vendors in the streets and sidewalks. And so I think there needs to be rules. And I don't care, as long as we're not blocking businesses, that we're taking those things in consideration, that we need to have that. The reason, now one of the reasons, if you recall, Councilwoman Benjamin and President, our police representative, which was at the time Sergeant Kendall, said we would need less police, what are they called? They're not meter maids, they're crossing guards. Because if we didn't have them on both sides. They said it would be less liability, if you recall, because we didn't have a crossing guard standing in the middle of Broad Street and people barreling down the event. And so we looked at the cost savings there. And so I'm not sure if they want to have it just on Ward 3 side, then yes, let's look at that because we cannot, I won't be in favor of having both sides of the street because of the additional cost to the city, unless they're willing to incur the cost and the liability. Because you see parents pull back all the time their children just from crossing in the street. And when you have a big event, and you have one crossing guard and you have 4 lanes of traffic. So,
Right.
yes, ma'am.
I just wanna make sure that
There's
an understanding, that there's a function that's on the side that's in question for one group, then the other group will be privy to the same. That's what I'm just saying.
Okay, and let me put this.
I thought I'll let the council follow it up and then move on. Go ahead, follow it up.
Okay, let me put this on the record. It is a mediocre mind and a person that's less than a leader to suggest, to imply, or to indicate that any actions, I don't know what anyone else thought when they were at this meeting, but I did not put black and white into this. This is not a black and white issue. That is so disgusting that we would even suggest that it's a black and white issue. That's mediocre. I mean, elementary people think of color. We're thinking about the benefit to the city. Councilwoman Benjamin, were you thinking about who was going to be served? Were you thinking about any color or race or any part? Hold on.
You're the only one saying that. I never heard that until
Councilman Soul, go ahead.
No, actually, I'm not the only one. You may not have said it, but there have been other council members that have said it. And so I said, allow me to say this for the record, because I was present at every meeting, and I don't recall black or white being brought up as an issue. Do you recall that?
It wasn't.
Do you recall that? I was there. It did not appear, actually it appeared to me to be a government issue because some of the implications were that Montgomery was doing more than Selma were doing for their people. Did we not receive that as an implication that government wasn't doing enough? And so let's remove that. Whatever we're going to do from one side, just as Councilman Johnson said about the other event, we want to do it for all sides. We want to be fair and impartial. This is not about one group, but at the same time, we really need, just as we're going to take into consideration the wild game is taking in consideration the construction in front of the St. James. They're taking their business in consideration, the reason they're wanting to move. We have to take and let people know that run businesses in this area that we do care. These are not 3-hour events, these are not one-day events, these are several days events, and we want to do everything that we can so we can have great events like we had this weekend that didn't impede on anyone. Well, maybe just a little bit, but it was still a great event. Right, we may have a few, but it was a great event, and that's what we want to welcome to our city. We want to welcome individuals that come back and provide resources and provide family entertainment.
Hello, Councilwoman Young.
Black, white, red, yellow, and
Councilwoman Young.
Well, it really didn't occur to me that race had entered into it. I kind of thought that,
Well, the council member that is not present.
oh, okay, I see.
Okay.
But, when I thought that it might have been an infrastructural issue because, and I'm not trying to get into business, it's, because a lot of, when your predecessor had to do a lot right there on Lauderdale Street. And that is in, your part of Water Avenue is real vulnerable right there. You know, they've had some cave-ins, that right there, plus, you know, that's real weak down on Water Avenue. And I don't think it's gonna cave in with a whole bunch of people, but that's just something sometimes to consider. I thought that may have factored into it.
Yeah,
That's why I was thinking it was forever.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was my deal. I thought when you ixnayed it, I knew what the deal was. I didn't realize it was for 1 year. I thought it was like forever.
Okay.
But also, I thought that it was because, as I had mentioned, David and Bill, who live at the Harmony Club, have always had an issue with people, what they've done with the grease. And we even had it put into the rules where we even had a resolution done where, an ordinance where you have to have the grease disposals and people just ignore it. So we need to have somebody, if ever we get an inspector again, to inspect, and if they don't have the grease disposal, you pack it up and leave, buddy, you don't get your vendor fee back. But anyhow, that's just all I wanted to say. But, you know, this will blow over, and I don't know what was up with our friend, you know, that's just so unlike him.
Councilwoman,
If you're not gonna, assign a special committee to this is under Councilwoman Thomas, purview, public property, public buildings, public whatever. The quickest thing, the best thing to do is to set the rule across the board for everybody. Meet, set the rule, that's the standard, write it down. If anybody wants to know, give them a copy of it, and let that be it for everyone, across the board. And I hope and I actually think that's why Councilman LaShaw was asking to set the standard across the board for everyone. Same rule for every organization. And when they say, what's the rule? Give them a written copy and let them decide whether they want to do their event, you know, or not. In the district, because it's the district.
that's why, if you can, see if you can find that. Because I think we have the rules already established.
I will say this, it was Councilman Randolph that asked for a Jubilee committee. It was him saying that it's too important.
Yeah.
And we need to step up, we need to communicate, we need to do these things. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I said in the meetings reflect, this is Jubilee 2019, because of course we anticipated, and we said in our meeting that the St. James will be sold by then. And with the St. James being sold, we can't say what will be happening at that time next year, because if they're still in construction, you know, we don't want the liability of getting a nail in your foot as you're walking by. So we're going to have to, that's why it was only for 1 year. Yeah. And that's why we were only looking at this one event. But I think we need to, and it does fall on Councilwoman Thomas, to just set the tone for the entire district. And I'm quite sure when it was done before we were on the council, even Councilman LaShaw was back to the council, that the district was put into place. And so I'm quite sure some rules are in there, but I couldn't find them when I was looking.
You have to go way back.
Yeah, you have to go back.
Yeah, you have to go way back.
It's a copy back, that's why I had to get a copy.
Yeah.
All right, Councilwoman Denton.
Like the agenda? Oh, number 15, okay, I'll let you know if we do number 15 tomorrow night, Mr. President. So city improvement funds, you know, the first time that we voted on the grass cutting, I think we adjusted it and edited Councilman Stewart to include beautification. I'm not sure if our motion included those words or not. For the second go around. Yeah, because I know that people are needing and are having trash and stuff picked up, and the council is supposed to do City Hall outside as a council project or whatever. So I don't know what, I don't know, in the motion, if we said
No, I thought it was beautification.
grass cutting, or we say grass cutting / beautification.
I think we had beautification, I think it was on the consent,
Yeah,
I think it was
we-
beautification.
them ain't no plan.
House to do that as a project.
I think it was.
We did say beautification, okay, I just wanna make sure.
She said she
Okay.
I will say, especially downtown, you know, we have that money in downtown beautification, but I can't find anybody. So if you can find anybody that's willing to do it, they're cut, but they don't want to weed and put.
No, we need them to do everything.
And that's what I
Fish
think.
gonna help us. Mr. Fish gonna help us.
So if you
Can he do
can,
that?
He
the flower beds.
do everything.
I don't know.
Supposed to be raining.
Yeah. So that was, it's $12,000 in there.
Uh-huh, yeah, I had asked her about that, and we need to go ahead and do it.
Okay. Councilwoman, anything?
Oh. Okay, that's just announcement. Yeah.
Also, two council members, don't forget tomorrow, 4 o'clock. From now on, I'm telling you. Hold on. Oh, I will. Yeah. Tomorrow, want to remind everyone to be here at 4 o'clock for the executive session. It's going to be 4 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 4 o'clock tomorrow.
And I was going to Teen Tech with
Yeah.
the Michael Johnson
What time is
Foundation. It's at 4.
Okay, yeah, you know, we had scheduled
Yeah, they
for
got you looking for you too.
last week, 4 o'clock. Be here. Hopefully I'll be back from Birmingham. I'm leaving out in the morning at 5 o'clock. Have a meeting at UAB. And also a contract will be coming before us this year. You know, somehow football team, due to the fact that our recreation department is, I guess, semi-functional.
Existing.
We definitely need to have the fields done for football season. And it would be total chaos if, you know, the fields are not prepared. You know, parents like going out there seeing their children perform on during the football season. So we have a young man who's willing to, you know, mark the field for us. So
That's a blessing.
we're gonna have to do it via contract. So I just want
That's a blessing.
just wanted to let you all know that the contracts will be forthcoming. And also,
There's a game Friday though. The contract will be ready tomorrow.
hopefully,
I'll call him.
call and see.
Be prepared for Friday.
Friday, okay,
Oh, it's done for
it's
Friday.
done Friday, okay.
And the school,
Paid for.
but we gotta reimburse the school.
Okay, I got you.
That's fine. Got I call this person tomorrow. Also, we have a resolution here. I'm gonna ask you if you would put it on consent agenda. This is the award of the to Fraser and Ashley Construction for the interpretive center. The money is already earmarked, the matching funds. I think 116,000, but it's basically just to move forward with Fraser and Ashley. What's that? Delta Region, Go ahead and put it on consent agenda tomorrow. All right, Councilwoman,
Yes, before everybody here, before we leave, tomorrow I would like to put a motion on the floor, a vote for, I pulled the minutes up. Everybody remember I told you that we never voted on, the price of the building. We discussed it, but we never did a vote. So the minutes is here where we took the minutes. We agreed to change the lease renting agreement. And that's what we did, the contract. And, with the, for the,
so if it's the lease, if it's in the minutes, have we already voted on
no, we never voted on the,
it? What?
Not the increased cost.
I know we voted on the increased
No, we
cost.
So like the mayor increased it.
he increased it on, and put it out.
So what we gonna do,
Yeah,
we'll bring it
and we
back
never
to
voted
the
on
Original.
original price.
We're gonna go back to the
That
original.
way the quarterback could.
Can y'all?
All organizations.
Can you put that?
Not just corporate.
I think you have about three.
All
You need
Just keep you out of the mud there, Bob.
Yeah,
Well, you know.
They'll come after you if you say something like that.
and
And they're meeting there right now.
You're right.
Take
For
it.
consent, that consent agenda that, I think
For
it's
the
about.
resolution,
Resolution.
from Ray Hall,
Uh-huh.
we have to,
And I can remind, everybody should send theirs.
Yeah. Because I know you had
Mine is for the $5,500 for my discretion.
That's two, yeah.
And then you want
And
me
mine
to-
is
Yeah,
using
yeah,
my money.
yeah, okay.
And then don't forget about the Dallas Academy. That,
Now, you go.
Yeah, everybody takes the stuff to Corey.
Please text me.
then we gotta put that on there for a vote.
Basically, I'm gonna try to go ahead and get it done tonight, that's what I.
Well, you want me to text you mine?
Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving at 5 in the morning. I'm gonna go ahead and get the email for the consent tonight, but that rebuild Alabama, Attorney Jones just texted me, said he would not have a resolution to go on consent agenda, but we could just vote on it. We'll just vote on it tomorrow.
Move forward with it.
Move forward with it, you know, it could be part of the consent item, but a separate one.
Councilwoman Thomas's
Yes, ma'am.
item that she just brought up, that motion is going to maintain the amount, because we never voted on.
We never
even though
voted.
so we're gonna vote to maintain.
Maintain, we never voted.
Make it a point of order.
Right,
Yeah.
just maintain the
Yeah.
status quo.
But what we need to look at is to the budget year.
Right.
Increasing those prices.
And repairing the buildings.
And repair the buildings, hopefully, we establish.
Yeah, we have to have some.
Yeah, hopefully.
Also, too, Ms. Way, I think you have about 4 items you need to email me.
3, I sent it to you already.
Okay, send it tomorrow, okay.
All right.
It's not time for you to report
Busy
it.
consent agenda tonight there.
Okay,
It's time for Kim Lewis to report it.
Are we meeting at 4 or 5 tomorrow?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Is Kim gonna be here?
And,
That's
get-
for it.
and President, could you do a follow-up on me? The letter was sent for some of the work that needs to be done with the, you know, the carpet. You know, we got the money, so why can't you know, I sent a letter, you got the email.
Dallas Academy?
Oh, no, for some of our buildings, city buildings, you received it.
Okay, I got a headache now, I haven't had anything to eat. Okay, about what now, Councilwoman?
The George Evans building with the carpet, you know, it's burned, the floor.
Is burned?
Yes. And, we need to, yeah, it's burnt.
Why do we put carpet in the same building anyway? That doesn't.
If somebody had some there and camera or something happened with it.
Whoever burned it needs to be, they should have had insurance to cover.
But don't we have insurance?
We should,
Don't the insurance should have covered that? I can't got a check for it, don't know nothing about it.
They were required.
okay. Where's it? Councilman?
Back to the budget, y'all. I noticed in the mayor's budget, it is void about administrative assistant.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We need an administrative assistant back in this office.
Yes.
That would be the liaison
Yes.
between our constituents and us.
Yes, sir.
You all do not realize we have taken a beating because we have not been in contact with our people.
Yes, we do realize it,
Yes,
Mr. LaShawn,
yes.
we realize it.
And we've been helping
Every
out.
day.
So we need an administrative assistant back in this office.
Correct.
And President Boyd been helping out, he
But
been
it's
taking
going to
calls
give
and
us
I've
an
been taking
administrative
calls.
assistant if we don't provide this new chief of staff position at $60,000 and his administrative assistant at $55,000, while we have a new.
We ain't got nothing.
Position at $25,000.
That's just ridiculous.
I'm tired of this.
Absolutely ridiculous. And want to have a half-time administrative assistant for us working out the clerk.
In the clerk
office. Please.
Councilman Foley.
Forget it.
All right, make sure you send all your emails.
Your lightning bolts are needed tonight.
So I'm gonna try to get it done tonight.
Come on.
All right, thanks.
Strike it down, let's move on with the city. Good job.
4 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, I will not be here.